In the heart of Santo Domingo's sprawling industrial expanse, where the towering spires of Arasaka Corp dominate the skyline, David Martinez emerges from his cramped apartment. The dim, flickering holograms and the faint scent of coolant fluid permeate the air, reminders of the stark contrast between his world and the gleaming facades of privilege that define Arasaka's elite corridors. David's mornings begin with the harsh reality of living in an ultra-capitalistic dystopia. His apartment, a patchwork of makeshift repairs and worn-out furnishings, echoes with the distant hum of machinery and the occasional clang of a malfunctioning pipe, a stark reminder of his family's meager existence in a city where every opportunity comes with a price tag. Despite the dilapidated surroundings, David's mother sacrifices everything to ensure he attends Arasaka's prestigious school, a beacon of hope in the otherwise bleak landscape of their lives. Her days are spent scraping by, funneling every credit into David's education, dreaming that it will be the ticket to a better life, a coveted position within Arasaka's ranks. David copes with the suffocating pressures of his environment through a facade of nonchalance, masking his inner turmoil with a wry smile and a dismissive shrug. Yet beneath his cool exterior lies a simmering anger, a volatile force unleashed by the injustices he witnesses daily, the vast disparities between the corporate elite and those struggling to survive. As David navigates the treacherous streets of Santo Domingo, each step is a testament to resilience forged in the crucible of his upbringing. He embodies more than a student. He is a survivor, grappling with the conflicting desires for success and authenticity in a city where both are commodities bought and sold. Welcome back to our Cyberpunk build series, where we delve into the intricate fantasies and dynamic playstyles shaped by Night City's unforgiving streets. Follow David Martinez's journey through this urban labyrinth, armed with potent pistols like the Lexington X-Mod 2 and enhanced cyberware like the Sandevistan. David epitomizes the blend of lore-rich identity and strategic prowess needed to thrive in this neon-lit tumult. Under the weight of Arasaka's dominance, David Martinez's journey from a hopeful student to a hardened mercenary unfolded with relentless inevitability. Each day, Maria would wake David with a gentle touch, their breakfasts shared amidst the ceaseless hum of the city, a symphony of sirens, arguments, and the perpetual rhythm of industrial life. Their daily journey to the tram station was a tense ritual, navigating alleys marked with gang graffiti and the menacing presence of local thugs vying for control. Tragedy struck one fateful morning. In the chaotic crossfire of Night City's highways, Maria was caught between rival gang members. A stray bullet, fired without purpose but full of deadly consequence, found her. The authorities, indifferent to those without corporate patronage, arrived too late, leaving David to cradle his mother's lifeless form amidst the unforgiving streets. Alone and consumed by grief and rage, David faced an agonizing choice: succumb to despair or forge a path of unrelenting determination. Selling their meager possessions, he ventured into Night City's underworld, trading what little remained for cybernetic enhancements, a grim testament to his resolve and a means to exact vengeance upon those who shattered his world. Driven by an insatiable thirst for justice, David plunged deeper into Night City's underbelly. Each cybernetic upgrade wasn't merely a tool, but a testament to his defiance against those who failed to protect his mother. The neon-lit streets pulsed with the harsh realities of inequality and injustice, where the wealthy floated above in their ivory towers, while the downtrodden struggled to survive in the shadows cast by corporate giants. Fate intervened on a desolate subway platform where he met Lucy, a seasoned mercenary renowned for surviving the city's deadliest contracts. Lucy recognized David's potential, seeing in him a kindred spirit forged by tragedy and fueled by a relentless desire for retribution. She spoke of the city as a matrix, a digital mirage where even the most intimate dreams were commodified and sold, leaving its denizens trapped in a cycle of desire and despair. Under Lucy's tutelage, David honed his skills, transforming from a grieving youth into a seasoned operative. She imparted wisdom earned through surviving Night City's brutal streets, teaching him combat arts and the nuances of navigating its treacherous undercurrents. Amid the flickering holograms and buzzing advertisements, David learned the art of survival, not just physical prowess, but the resilience of spirit required to endure in a world where hope was a rare and fragile currency. In time, Lucy bestowed upon him his first significant weapon, the Lexington X-Mod II, a symbol of his induction into the ranks of serious operatives. Armed with the Lexington and driven by a newfound purpose, David's path as a mercenary intensified. Each contract became more than a job. It was an opportunity to assert control over a world that had taken so much from him. His cybernetic enhancements were not just mechanical augmentations, but a testament to his defiance against a system that had failed him and his mother. Yet, as David delved deeper into the heart of Night City's darkness, the city's dystopian allure began to consume him. The constant buzz of augmentation whispered promises of power and invincibility, blurring the line between man and machine. The streets echoed with the cries of those forgotten by society, their faces illuminated by the harsh glare of neon advertisements selling false dreams. His drive, magnified by the relentless grind of Night City, propelled David toward the brink of cyberpsychosis. In this dystopian crucible where survival meant constant augmentation, he became obsessed with etching his name into Night City's annals as a legend. Endowed with a rare capacity for cyberware, David pushed the boundaries of his humanity, seeking to transcend the limitations imposed upon him by a society that valued profit over compassion. Yet even his natural resilience couldn't withstand the relentless demands of cybernetic enhancement. As his upgrades grew more invasive, David's psyche fractured. The cyberware, once symbols of strength and defiance, whispered dark urges that echoed his descent into madness. His quest for justice morphed into an insatiable hunger for power, blurring the boundaries between man and machine until he crossed the threshold into cyberpsychosis, a tragic culmination of his journey from a grief-stricken student to a cybernetic mercenary lost in the unforgiving labyrinth of Night City. David Martinez walked through the familiar streets of Kabuki, the neon signs casting an eerie glow on the rain-soaked pavement. Each step seemed to echo with memories of Maria, her gentle touch, and their shared breakfasts amidst the urban symphony of sirens and arguments. The weight of her absence bore down on him, like the oppressive towers of Arasaka that loomed overhead. The entrance to Rogue Amendiari's establishment was discreet, a flickering neon sign marked only by a symbol indicating its underground nature. Stepping inside, David was enveloped in the scent of gun oil and the dim hum of conversations conducted in hushed tones. Rogue, a seasoned fixer with a sharp eye and a reputation for discretion, greeted him with a knowing nod. "Looking to arm up, Martinez?" Rogue's voice was confident, tinged with the weariness of someone who had seen too much of Night City's brutality. David nodded solemnly, his eyes scanning the array of weapons displayed under flickering hollows. Each gun held the promise of power, a power he needed to face the relentless brutality of Night City. His fingers traced the edge of a sleek pistol, the Lexington X-Mod II. "This one," Rogue explained, "is your answer to all-purpose needs. Long range, modded for explosive damage. It's your ticket to keeping distance from trouble." David held the Lexington in his hand, feeling its weight as if it were a lifeline to justice in a city where justice was for sale, and Maria's life had been just another transaction gone wrong. Rogue's practiced hands operated the holographic interface, summoning another weapon, the Dying Knight. "Shock modded," Rogue continued, "ideal for dealing with the bots and mechs that haunt this city. Quick on the draw, packs a punch when you're on the move." David's gaze lingered on the Dying Knight, its modifications a testament to the ingenuity required to survive in a city that devoured its inhabitants, human and machine alike. Next, Rogue presented the Cheetah, a weapon adorned with a bold pink cheetah pattern. "Close range," Rogue explained, "but packs a punch, increased crit and bleed chance up close and extra damage to the torso. perfect for those moments when the fight gets personal. David accepted the Cheetah, recognizing it as a tribute to its previous owner, Angelica Whelan, a reminder that even in the heart of darkness, there were those who fought back with ferocity and style. Lastly, Rogue revealed a cyberware marvel, a projectile launch system embedded in David's cybernetic arm. "When subtlety won't cut it," Rogue grinned, "this'll get the job done." Launches projectiles with explosive force, wide radius, and a chance to dismantle even the toughest targets. David nodded, envisioning the possibilities that the projectile launch system offered, a tool to level the playing field against the towering giants of corporate greed and unchecked power. As David Martinez left Rogue's shop, the weight of his new arsenal was palpable. Each weapon carried the weight of his grief, his determination, and his defiance against a system that had failed Maria, failed him. They were more than tools. They were symbols of his relentless pursuit of justice, in a city where justice was a luxury reserved for the few. David walked alone, armed not just with guns, but with a resolve forged in loss and tempered by the steel of his determination. Each weapon was a testament to his journey, a journey from grief-stricken youth to cybernetic mercenary, driven by a hunger for power, for justice, and for redemption in a city that demanded everything and gave nothing in return. The neon glow of Santo Domingo cast long shadows across the dilapidated streets, the harsh lights flickering like the fading hope of its inhabitants. David Martinez navigated these streets with purpose, each step a testament to his determination to rise above the chaos and claim his place in the annals of Night City. His first stop was a rundown corner shop hidden amidst the cluttered alleyways of Arroyo. The shopkeeper, an old net runner with cybernetic eyes that seemed to pierce through David's soul, greeted him with a nod. "Looking for something special today, kid?" David's eyes scanned the shop, landing on a rugged tank top displayed behind a cracked glass case. "V's black tank top," the shopkeeper said, noting David's interest. "Lightweight, durable, and perfect for layering. Keeps you agile in a fight." David nodded, feeling the fabric. It was soft but resilient, a reminder of the strength he'd need to survive the trials ahead. Next, David ventured deeper into the heart of Santo Domingo, to a hidden enclave known only to a select few. Here, amidst the buzz of street vendors and the hum of underground tech, he found a vendor specializing in outerwear. Hanging prominently was a yellow jacket with a distinctive design. "David's jacket," the vendor proclaimed with a hint of pride, "worn by legends, built for resilience. This jacket isn't just armor, it's a statement." David slipped it on, the weight of its history settling on his shoulders. It was more than protection. It was a symbol of his journey and the legacy he intended to build. Continuing his quest, David moved towards an area known for its innovative streetwear, an open market where fashion met function. He picked up a pair of pants that caught his eye, loose fits with micro-mesh underlayer. The vendor, a fashion-forward techie, explained, "These pants are perfect for high mobility. The micro-mesh underlayer provides extra protection without sacrificing movement." David appreciated the craftsmanship, recognizing the balance between style and practicality. These pants would allow him to move swiftly through the urban sprawl, whether in pursuit or escape. Finally, David's path led him to a boutique specializing in footwear, hidden in a narrow alleyway. The shop's owner, a former merc with a flair for design, showcased a pair of sleek sneakers. "Cashew Hanton kicks with modified polyamide," he explained. "These kicks are reinforced for combat and comfort, providing the support you need when the streets get rough." David tried them on, feeling the perfect blend of flexibility and strength. With each piece of armor, he felt more prepared, more equipped to take on the dangers of Night City. As David Martinez walked out of Santo Domingo, clad in his new gear, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each item of clothing was more than just armor. It was a part of his identity, a symbol of his resilience and his relentless pursuit of justice. In the unforgiving world of Night City, he was ready to carve out his legend, one piece of armor at a time. David Martinez's journey from a grief-stricken student to a mercenary legend in Night City was not just marked by the acquisition of gear and weapons, but by the relentless honing of his skills and attributes. Each mission, each contract, forged him into a more formidable force, sharpening his abilities with every encounter. David's journey began with the honing of his precision and composure, investing heavily in the cool attribute. In the dystopian chaos of Night City, maintaining one's cool was more than a survival tactic. It was a path to mastery. The pistol perks in the cool attribute greatly enhanced David's lethality with firearms. As he trained, he developed a natural instinct for handling his weapons, increasing his damage output, reload speed, and stamina management. David discovered the power of focus, a mechanic that activated automatically when he aimed with full stamina. Time seemed to slow, reducing the stamina cost of his actions and increasing his reload speed. With Deadeye active when his stamina was above 85%, David found his shots dealt maximum damage at any range, with no fall-off. These abilities made him a sharpshooter of unmatched precision. The legendary perk Gunslinger ensured that hip firing did not consume stamina, keeping focus and Deadeye always active. This synergy allowed David to move swiftly and strike with devastating power, perfectly complementing his dying night pistol, which increased damage and guaranteed shock while moving. David's agility and mobility were crucial in a city where danger lurked around every corner. By investing in reflexes, he unlocked incredible abilities that enhanced his combat prowess. He mastered the dash and air dash abilities, allowing him to move with blinding speed and agility, evading attacks and positioning himself strategically. With the legendary perk Tailwind, his dashes not only became more efficient, but also generated stamina instead of consuming it. This synergized perfectly with his cool attribute perks, ensuring that focus and Deadeye were always ready to activate, making him a blur of lethal efficiency on the battlefield. David's obsession with chrome and cyberware was more than just an aesthetic choice, it was a tactical advantage. Investing in technical ability allowed him to push the boundaries of his cybernetic enhancements. He increased his cyberware capacity, allowing him to equip more powerful augmentations and enhance his physical and combat capabilities. The perks in this attribute extended the duration and effectiveness of his cyberware while reducing their cooldowns. The legendary edgerunner perk mirrored David's journey into the depths of cyberpsychosis. The more he overloaded his cyberware capacity, the more powerful he became, entering a rampage mode that dramatically increased his damage output. David also focused on the left part of the technical ability attribute, enhancing his consumables like potions and grenades. These perks increased the number of charges, reduced cooldowns, and amplified their potency. The Pyromania buff, activated by dealing explosive damage, such as from his Lexington X Mod 2 pistol or shock damage from his dying night pistol, granted powerful offensive and defensive bonuses, replenishing his grenade charges and keeping him in the fight. Lastly, David invested his remaining points into the body attribute, enhancing his durability and resilience. These perks increased his health regeneration, potion potency, and overall toughness. With the Adrenaline Rush perk, using potions activated a temporary shield, providing critical protection during intense firefights. This made David not only a lethal force, but a resilient one, able to withstand and counteract the brutal assaults of Night City. David Martinez's transformation from a hopeful student to a hardened mercenary was not just about surviving the brutal streets of Night City, it was about becoming a legend. Each mission he completed brought him closer to his goal, filling his pockets with credits and his mind with new possibilities. His journey led him frequently to the dingy but reliable clinic of the Ripperdoc in Arroyo, Santo Domingo, where he would upgrade his body with cutting-edge cyberware. After a particularly grueling mission in the industrial sprawl of Santo Domingo, David found himself standing outside the clinic of Ripperdoc Arroyo. The neon sign flickered overhead, casting an eerie glow on the rain-soaked pavement. Inside, the clinic was a maze of high-tech equipment and the scent of antiseptic. "Back again, Martinez." The Ripperdoc's voice was a gruff welcome, but his eyes betrayed a keen interest. I assume you're looking for some serious upgrades. David nodded, his gaze steely. Got some tough jobs lined up, need to be ready. Projectile launch system was the first piece installed. Embedded within his arm, it allowed David to shoot rockets at enemies, knocking them down and providing essential crowd control. It was perfect for the heavily armed gangs and mechs that roamed the streets. Next came clutch padding, reducing the stamina cost for shooting. This ensured that David's focus and deadeye effects for his pistols remained active, allowing for precise and relentless firepower. Microgenerator followed, making every reload an offensive action. Each time David reloaded his gun, the next shot released an electroshock EMP, delivering AoE damage that disrupted enemy electronics. The Ballistic Coprocessor increased the ricochet chance and damage of his power pistols, turning every shot into a potential multi-target threat. Finally, the mechatronic core was installed, enhancing David's damage against mechs, robots, and drones, common adversaries in Night City. With each successful mission, David returned to the Ripperdoc, seeking enhancements that would bolster his survival. Need to stay in one piece out there, David said, his resolve unyielding. Epimorphic skeleton was the first defensive upgrade, boosting his overall health and providing a robust foundation for enduring the relentless assaults of Night City. To further enhance his resilience, David opted for Rara Avis, significantly increasing his armor and making him a tougher target on the battlefield. The Universal Booster made health items more effective, granting additional armor and reducing stamina cost, ensuring that David could sustain himself during prolonged engagements. Neofiber implants increased his damage mitigation, allowing him to shrug off attacks that would incapacitate lesser mercenaries. The reflex turner slowed time when David's health dropped below 25%, giving him a critical window to turn the tide of battle in his favor. Painducer converted 30% of incoming damage into a damage over time effect, enabling David to leverage health regeneration perks and cyberware effects more effectively. Nano-Plating provided a block chance to incoming shots, adding another layer of protection and making David a harder target to hit. Heal on Kill granted him lifesteal upon killing enemies, ensuring that each victory on the battlefield revitalized him and kept him in the fight longer. Finally, the blood pump served as a powerful potion replacement, providing a burst of healing when David needed it most. David's climb through the ranks of Night City's mercenaries required not just power and durability, but enhancements that elevated his overall capabilities. "Time to go all out. I want the best you've got," David declared, his ambition clear. The Ripperdoc nodded, knowing exactly what David needed. He began with the Sandevistan, a legendary piece of cyberware David had scavenged from a fallen cyber-psycho mercenary. With his natural high cyberware capacity, David could withstand its potent effects, slowing time by 85% and increasing his damage output to unparalleled levels. To complement the Sandevistan, Kerenzikov was installed, providing an additional slow time effect with a shorter duration and cooldown. This upgrade activated when David aimed with his pistols and then dashed, giving him the precision of a master marksman. Enhancing this further, the Kerenzikov boost system amplified the slow time effect, making David's reflexes almost superhuman. Defenzikov offered a mitigation bonus whenever Kerenzikov was activated, ensuring David remained protected during these critical moments. To keep his cyberware in peak condition, the Axolotl reduced cyberware cooldowns with each enemy kill. This ensured that David's Sandevistan, Kerenzikov and Blood Pump were always ready for action, maintaining his combat rhythm. The Oracle optics were the final touch, enhancing David's vision to highlight all enemies, turrets and threats when scanning, providing unparalleled situational awareness. Lastly, reinforced tendons were installed, allowing David to double jump and navigate Night City's urban jungle with unprecedented mobility and flair. David Martinez's journey through the unforgiving streets of Night City was one of transformation and relentless determination. From the cramped apartment in Santo Domingo to the high-stakes contracts that tested his every limit, David's path was marked by tragedy, resilience, and an unyielding pursuit of justice. Every piece of gear, every cybernetic enhancement, and every skill he honed was a testament to his resolve to rise above the chaos and carve out a legend amidst the neon-lit labyrinth. His life was a constant battle against the oppressive forces of corporate greed, systemic injustice, and the cold indifference of a city that devoured the weak. In the crucible of Night City, David became more than just a mercenary. He became a symbol of defiance, embodying the struggle of countless others trapped in the matrix of corporate dystopia. His arsenal, from the explosive power of the Lexington X-Mod E2 to the shock-inducing Dying Night and the devastating Projectile launch system, reflected his evolution from a grieving youth to a cybernetic force of nature. His armor, a blend of practicality and statement, protected not just his body, but his legacy, each piece reinforcing his journey. The tactical enhancements to his cool reflexes, technical ability, and body attributes turned him into a formidable operative, capable of navigating the most treacherous environments and emerging victorious. The cyberware he acquired from the trusted Ripperdoc in Arroyo transformed him into a near unstoppable entity, blending man and machine in a seamless dance of power and precision. Offensive upgrades made him a deadly adversary, while defensive and quality of life enhancements ensured his survival and operational superiority. In the end, David Martinez's story is one of transformation, a journey from despair to defiance, from a student to a mercenary legend. Each mission, each battle, and each step through the neon-lit streets of Night City brought him closer to his ultimate goal, to leave an indelible mark on a world that tried to crush him. His legacy serves as a beacon of hope and a harbinger of justice, reminding us all that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine brightly. As we conclude this episode of our Cyberpunk build series, we leave you with the story of David Martinez, a legend forged in the heart of Night City, driven by loss, empowered by technology, and fueled by an unwavering desire for justice. May his journey inspire you to carve out your own path in the neon-lit chaos of this cyberpunk dystopia. If you enjoyed this deep dive into David Martinez's build and his journey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more character builds and narratives from the unforgiving streets of Night City. See you on the edge, Chooms.